Happy Monday to all. Welcome into the PHLY Phillies podcast. Jamie Lynch, Renee Washington, JP Zapata in with you. Hope everybody had a great weekend out there. And of course, this is brought to you by our friends at Ace Hardware and Red October. Although it's over here for the Phillies, it's not over for the Dodgers and the Yankees. Is powered by Ace Hardware Home Services. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. All right, Renee, we're going back to the classroom today to issue out some more grades. The pitching staff we're getting to this weekend. We'll talk World Series. We'll do some fact or fiction. We got a lot on the table today. How was your weekend? Wild, crazy.
Chaotic, crazy, but we're here. We made it. How about you?
It was good. Came into the city for a block party.
Ooh.
Did a little bonfire, World Series, college football,
that.
dual viewing. So that was always with a nice cup of bourbon.
Oh, you had a great weekend, it sounds like.
Yeah, girls got to dress up in their costumes and do a little trial run. So they're super excited for Thursday night this week. And so am I, actually.
I always wonder, like with Halloween midweek, if people air to go the weekend before, the weekend after. I always say, why not do both?
Yeah.
You know, you got it.
Do you still dress up?
I actually dressed up this year for the first time in a long time.
Right.
I mean, like last year, if you remember, I wore a bunny suit into the show.
Yes.
But I don't know, that was just the show.
Maybe I'll dig out the old Woody costume.
Yeah, like
And no, we're not talking Blue Chew.
Okay.
Okay.
I like... Just gonna let that one marinate. No, I actually had gone a while without going to like Halloween parties and dressing up, and this year I'm venturing out again. Just being a little bit more into the holiday. So yeah.
Is there a dress up this year or no?
I already had a costume. I already wore one.
Oh, okay.
I already wore one. The first of the options.
Now, is this something you actively sought out, or was this just stuff at the house that you made into a costume?
Well, it originally was a planned costume, but I didn't like my planned costume. The costume that I bought, I bought a boxer costume, but it's something just
like
looked
Rocky.
Yeah, but it was giving like pajamas.
Italian stallion?
It was not. It wasn't cute. Like as a female, you wanted to like have that fine balance of being funny, but still like cute and good looking.
Sexy Halloween costumes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And it was.
We don't have to hide from that, right, JP? We love sexy Halloween costumes.
It was giving very much like I rolled out of the house in my pajamas because the robe and the shorts were just too lax. So I was like, scratch that. Went with a vampire vibe instead.
Oh, all right.
Had the blood and everything. Got some rave reviews. So I've got that. That was my first costume. We've got another one in the bank.
Nice. I got a Peppa Pig and an Elsa at my house. So happy Halloween to everybody this week. It is before we get into the grades here, there's a tradition in my neighborhood where a parent's house, the kids are grown, adults have their own kids, so they're now grandparents. Their house, every Halloween, the kids with the grandkids come and toilet paper their parents' house and their grandparents' house. And it's gotten so bad that the parents actually had like most of the lower limbs removed. So you would think you can't really get there. And me and Addie walked by Saturday night, and I don't know if these people hired a crane or if they have like a weighted toilet paper system. The tree was like, I don't know, probably 90, 100 feet off the ground. They were getting it up on limbs. So they really toilet papered the hell out of it. So
I have a disclosure before we move along. I've actually never done Mischief.
That doesn't surprise me at all, Renee. That doesn't surprise me at all.
Not one egg.
I've never TP'd a house.
Really?
I mean, like, my list, like, I never did ding dong ditch, I never egged places,
What?
never TP to house. I know.
Oh man, I don't even want to say all the things I've done.
So I wasn't even gonna ask. There's no point in me asking.
Yeah.
I never did it.
Yeah, Mischief Night was.
That's how you learn how to steal bases, guys. Ding dong ditch.
Yeah,
Yeah, I never did it.
we used to put like firecrackers in people's pumpkins.
Oh my
just
God,
like bad
dude.
stuff.
I didn't do that stuff.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
toilet
that's
paper.
really bad.
I backed the house.
Yeah,
Ding
That's
dong
quite bad.
ditch.
Yeah, it was bad. But that's Mischief Night. Anyway, all right,
Oh
let's
my.
get back to the
Red.
classroom today and issue out some grades. On the grading table today, we have Zack Wheeler, Tyler Phillips, and my sweet boy Ranger. Where would you like to start there, Professor Ice Queen?
I don't know. I think we should let's like knock some out real quick. Let's get like Spencer and Tyler out the way. Let's delay the people.
Oh, I didn't do Spencer today. I'm sorry. I thought it was only Tyler, Ranger, and Zach. So I didn't do Spencer today. I'm sorry. We can save him for another day. I'm
Okay.
sorry about that.
It's
All your
fine.
hard work will be
It's
saved
fine.
for another day. All right, let's start with the meat and
It's difficult
potatoes.
to grade Spencer. You know.
Well, it's difficult to grade Tyler Phillips as well. Let's start with Zack Wheeler. He's
All right, fine.
He's probably the
Override
best
my choice.
and most important Philly. I'm giving him an A+. Zack Wheeler was tremendous this year. Here's the stats from JP's graphic: 32 games played, 16-7 on the year, 2.57 ERA, a 6.1 WAR, second in baseball, only behind Chris Sale at 6.2, I believe. 200 innings pitched, 224 strikeouts, .955 WHIP, and then of course was spectacular in the postseason. Zack Wheeler did say it was a goal of his to get 200 innings pitched and 200 strikeouts this year. I'm giving him an A+. He's as close to perfect as a pitcher could be. Great fielder, kept teams in games, dominated strikeouts, innings. There was only 4 games this year where he allowed more than 4 earned runs. He was the first Phillies pitcher since the mound moved to its current distance in 1893 to go 6+ innings and allow 2 or fewer runs in 11 consecutive starts. The lowest ERA by a Philly starter since Aaron Nola's 2.37 in 2018. He's behind Sale in wins, ERA, FIP, strikeouts, and FWAR, but he best Sale in WHIP, opponent's batting average, on-base percentage, and OPS. Really good case for a Cy Young. We probably both agree that Chris Sale is going to get it, unfortunately. But since he's been a Philly, Zack Wheeler is phenomenal. A+ across the board. I don't know what else I could ask from the guy.
Okay. Professor Goody
boy.
Two-Shoes over here, Professor Fluff. Listen, it's funny because I was told, Mickey Durkin said I was a Goody Two-Shoes, which I was, although K-Red was a delinquent. And it's funny because when it comes, and he said it himself, when it comes to our grading, our roles are reversed, and I'm a little bit harsher.
Where are you going with Zack Wheeler? What are you doing? What? Don't tell me. What? What do you got?
So I told you, everybody across this team lost points because everybody across this team, or as a team, I should say, you did not have a strong finish to the season. You got knocked out of the NLDS. You played awful baseball the second half of the season. So for Zach, and I actually had mentioned in my notes as well about him being the first Phillies pitcher to go 6 innings, plus innings and have 2. That's a huge stat. Fantastic.
Pretty
Incredible.
good. 1893.
Pretty good. 1893 that record held up. The lowest ERA, as we talked about, being a Cy Young and how he had phenomenal numbers this season, was top in wins, ERA, FIP with 3.13, strikeouts with 224, his FWAR at a 5.5. Also had a better whip than Chris Sale. His opponent's batting average was a .192. His opponent's on-base percentage, a .253, OPS .581. And for Zack Wheeler, as he mentioned, like he did so much for this team, including getting over 200 innings pitched again. So another season of him going over 200. And then also the quality starts that he had, 26 quality starts. He also had only 6 games the entire 33 games he pitched this season where he pitched 5 innings or less. The rest of his season, he was able to go 6+ innings. And we talked about the success of his 6+ consecutive innings to close out the regular season. Zack Wheeler honestly was phenomenal. And he was saying like his goal is to get 200 innings, 200 strikeouts, but also to try to get the team wins and help the best way he can. The only thing Zack Wheeler could have done differently is maybe go take some bats. Like, let's get back to some pitchers
He might have
batting
been better than some of these guys.
Because
in
the way
playoffs.
that it was a disservice to him and his phenomenal pitching, the way that the offense did not show up. I know it was brought up in the chat. Game 1 of the NLDS still lives rent-free in my head. The fact that this man literally had one of the best playoff performances we've ever seen in baseball and did not get any support, has the 5th lowest ERA of any Major League Baseball player with 10 or more starts in the postseason since ERA became official back in 1913. Came into the postseason phenomenal and was incredible in his 111 pitches in 7 shutout innings. I actually give him an A+ as well.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, like, what else could you answer? I thought you were gonna go like A-.
No, I know. No. Everybody else on the team has been knocked down some grades and letters and pegs and whatever numbers you want to call it. But Zack Wheeler did everything he possibly could, and it's insane because he started off the season. We remember he was 0-3 to start off the season with under a 3 ERA, and the Phillies offense did not give him any run support. And how did they finish the season? The Phillies offense did not give him any run support. So throughout this year, he was incredible. His best month, August, he had a 1.62 ERA in the month of August. Was 3-1 in that month. And in that time, gave up a total of 8 runs across 28 pitches, and 7 of those were earned. Zack Wheeler had a steady season. His most challenging, quote unquote, month was July when he posted a 3.91 ERA. Right after coming out of the All-Star break, and that was just in 2 games. Zack Wheeler was everything you could have asked for from your ace, and it's a shame because he just did not get any support from the team. It's an A for me.
A. So you already dropped it.
I'm sorry. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. A+.
Right.
I'm sorry. Forgot.
All right,
I can't give out an A+.
What do you got for Zack Wheeler?
What's happening, guys? First off, Renee being a little dramatic there. You had us all on the edge of our seat. What's she gonna grade him?
So I had to mix it up.
I mean, you gotta give him the A+, right? All you can ask for any of these players is go out and do your job. Zack Wheeler did his job with flying colors, and anytime it's Wheels Day, you guys already know you're gonna get wheels up. You're gonna get a good pitching performance, and I threw in the stat line from game 1 because. Dude, you should have won that game. Zack Wheeler came in a playoff game, game 1 at home, left you with no run scored, and you lost it. So Zack Wheeler, love it. He's our ace. Can't wait to see what he brings out next year.
JP, that's a really nice sweatshirt you're wearing today. Where did you get that?
Well, it's funny because I don't know if people can see. Jamie and I are literally matching. Literally matching. I'm not wearing flip-flops though, guys. I'm not a flip-flop guy.
I actually it was cold enough today.
It was so cold this morning.
Well,
I turned on the heat.
Aerating and seeding the lawn, so I'm on sprinkler duty each morning, and my wife she turns them on first when she leaves. She texted me this morning. She's like, "The sprinkler isn't going on." And I was like, well, how cold did it get last night? Yeah. So we're already at the point where the hose
freezing
froze.
point.
It's like 30 this morning.
But it's supposed to be nice for like the next 10 days. And like,
you keep
that
saying
was the
that,
cold. But it's supposed to be 80 on Halloween. 80! Wow.
Yeah, but the problem is it's 80 at like one point of the day. It's not 80 the entire day. So the morning and the night are freezing. Yeah. Well, and so it's misleading because
there's this thing called the sun, Renee, and it's hot. And during the day, it beams down.
It's crazy because you walk in the course of a day. First of all, people like me that get cold so easily. Yeah. I have to bring so many layers. And you start off the day freezing, then you have to shed layers, then you're sweating, then you're cold again. And that's why you get sick, because you're like sweating and then you're cold and you're going through like a midlife crisis. But I love the fact we've had this conversation. We've had this conversation. I feel like you can get sick from the temperature change. You think that you only get sick from the germs. I feel like if you're sweating and your pores are open, and then the temperature drops and you get cold and now you're shivering, I feel like that can make you sick. It makes you achy. It makes your body cold. And then as a result, then comes the germs.
But then wouldn't people that do like saunas and cold plunges every day get sick all the time?
It's different.
I always wondered that too. Because my brother-in-law is like,
I have one of the cold plunges every morning. He never gets sick.
That's disgusting.
It's actually really good for you.
It's awesome. It's the best way to wake up.
I used to take them. I used to take cold baths, ice baths all the time. Back in my playing days.
Can't do it.
It's great for your recovery.
It's your body flow, your blood flow, and all that.
He said any hangover, if he jumps in the cold tub and sits in there for 15 minutes, knocked out, gone.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I don't know. Well, I don't
try
know.
that.
What I do know is you guys are twinning, and it's kind of weird because you guys are wearing
It's a really
the
nice
exact
sweatshirt. Where
same,
could you get that, JP?
the exact
do you know?
same
Oh,
pants
dude.
also with it.
Let me
Tell us about where.
this little
And maybe
shop.
there was like a great time to become a diehard and support us here at allphly.com. There's a merch tab. You get great stuff like this. Me and JP are modeling for you. And right now, an introductory rate. If you ever wanted to get access to all the best writers in the city here at PHLY and Fran Duffy's awesome film reviews, we got a great thing going on right now with an introductory rate, free merch, invite to the Discord, all that good stuff. So if you ever thought about becoming a diehard and supporting us here, now is a great time to hop in. All right, let's take a brief break and talk about some friends of ours.
Nope. Before you hit that swipe, yes, according to Google doesn't lie. You can get sick from the weather suddenly changing. Your body has to adapt, which can sometimes trigger an illness. A sudden change can increase infections. Yeah, I was right.
Google
What
did
is
its
that,
thing.
Google AI? I don't trust it. It's garbage.
It's your
I found
body
a
trying
story
to
written
cope.
by Renee Washington
It's
at
your
LaSalle
body.
University.
A
about
doctor
whether-
said it. A doctor said it. I
Yeah,
don't know
right.
which doctor this
Name
is,
names.
but Dr. Bass.
Dr. Google AI. Get the hell out of
It's
here.
your body trying to like cope with it. So sneezing, coughing, sore throat, all that comes from respiratory illnesses come from this quick change of temperature. I told you. Boom.
I don't
Now
tru-
hit that read.
I don't trust AI, but let's tell you about some of the friends of ours that I do trust here at PHLY. And that, of course, is my friends over at Bet365. Every weekend, you can find out, actually every day, you can find out why it's never ordinary. But every weekend, we're cooking up Eagles same-game parlays. And Nick Sirianni not giving Saquon Barkley the touchdown yesterday on the goal line cost us. Our boosted odds, same-game parlay here for the Eagles, did not hit because the only one that didn't hit was a Saquon anytime touchdown score. But you can find out why it's never ordinary. They have 90 million users worldwide. They stream over 780,000 events each year. And you had early payout offers across NBA, NFL, NHL, and of course, Major League Baseball. If you bet the Detroit Lions yesterday, boom, that's an early payout because they hit. You didn't even have to wait till the end of the game. You'll get cashed out right then and there on the spot once they go up 17 points. You don't even have to worry about the final results of the game. It's great. And then you can take that and roll it into something else or be ready for those 4 o'clock games or the Sunday night game. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Use the code PHLY365 to sign up, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets. Bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. So every day, they're powering up odds on hundreds of bets to give you a chance to win more with over 10,000 odds boosts every single month. We boost specific markets, like here in Philly. I just put together all the nights that the Flyers and Sixers play together for Bet365. So we're going to have stuff on same nights when those two play. We'll have some boosts there. So keep an eye out for our custom PHLY bets and boosts. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up and get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Whatever the moments, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 and older and in Pennsylvania, physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right. Well, let me tell you about where you can get some nice, refreshing beer. Miller Lite, the place you can go to get the light beer that has not changed. And a lot is changing, like the weather, like so many other things that are happening. Guys, it's almost November already. But one thing that never changes, regardless what the temperature is outside, regardless what the calendar may say, and it hasn't changed since 1975, it's that Miller Lite gives you a great beer that's less filling. It's light, less filling, and still tastes like beer. And when you're trying to figure out what you want to drink, a nice refreshing option you're looking for, you don't have to worry about choosing between feeling good and tasting good. With Miller Lite, it's both. And also here at PHLY Phillies, we're so thrilled that we get an opportunity to enjoy Miller Lite all the time at all of our events. We get to partner with them, and they're always out providing us with great opportunities to get on site for events and to be able to watch games while we enjoy the delicious light beer of Miller Lite. So when you're enjoying Right now, or even today, there's MLS playoff games, World Series.
It's a sports equinox.
It's a sports equinox. We're talking Monday Night Football, NBA, all the games going on today. You can enjoy it the right way. That's with Miller Lite. Great taste of Miller Lite and the best light beer. And it's simple, undebatable quality, and only 96 calories per 12 ounces. So when you want to have a light beer that tastes like beer, check out Miller Lite. You don't have to choose what's best with Miller Lite. They've got the great taste, and it's less filling and always tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, yes, to your front door, ding dong, and Miller Lite will be there. No ding dong ditch with Miller Lite. Delivered to your door, visit MillerLite.com/PHLY Phillies, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Again, 96 calories per 12 ounces, fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.
And this is the PHLY Phillies podcast brought to you by Ace Hardware Home Services. Visit acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. And speaking of Miller Lite, Renee, we just found out November 10th, we're going to be at the Rook in Manayunk for a little Eagles pregame with our friends at Miller Lite. So if you're in the Manayunk area and you want to come out and do a little pregame and Miller Lite specials and hang with us, we'd love to see you there on November 10th. All right, next up on the grades, Tyler Phillips. I will be honest, this is a tough one to grade because the expectations are not high. Tyler Phillips played in 8 games this year. He went 4-1 with a 6.87 ERA, which is hilarious. A negative 0.6 WAR, 36 2/3 innings on the year, 28 strikeouts, which is commendable, a 1.418 WHIP, which is not great, and did have a complete game in a very cool moment of the season where Tyler Phillips' family got to come and watch him at Citizens Bank Park for the team he grew up watching. Very cool moment. If I had to give him a grade just on vibes, I'd give him a B+ for those moments. But look, I gave him a C+, and that's kind of just in the middle because it's a weird one to grade. I think for the first 4 games, he came in and really battled for you. There was only the one game where he kind of got rocked, but for 3 games, he let the team hang, battled, and then when he kind of came back to earth, the book was out on him and he started getting shelled. But for 4 games, which is all you really hope you need for a spot start from a kid from your farm system to give you, I thought he did really a nice job in those first 4 games. It was kind of a point in the year where a bunch of guys were hurt and dinged up, and you didn't want the direction to plummet south. So I'm going to give him a C+. I feel comfortable, I guess, with that grade. I can't go any higher. I can't really give Tyler Phillips an F because I don't really expect him to be my expectation is an F. You know what I mean? When you call up a farmhand like that, that's not even doing great in the minors, and you throw him into the wildfire, I expect an F, and he was better than that, I think, for what he is.
Yeah.
You're gonna go lower. I can already tell.
Here comes the ice.
Oh boy. The Phillips family, tune out. Professor Ice
Well,
Queen.
how many times have we seen a pitcher that the Phillies call up into a big moment, have a shutout game, a complete game? Lorenzen, Phillips have these incredible early success, and then that's their peak, and then it just pew.
Yeah, it usually means you're not very good.
So was he great when he pitched that complete game in July? Absolutely. And that was, as you mentioned, coming off of the 4-game skid for him in the month of July. Starting on July 7th, he had a 1.80 ERA in the month of July, including that complete game. So he was able to give you 4 innings against Atlanta, as we know. And then as a starter, was able to give you 6 consecutive and back-to-back showings before that complete game. So July was great, and that was fine. But we all knew he was going to have a comeback-to-earth moment. And for Tyler Phillips to then have a big swing, I don't mind you having a regression, especially once you have a complete game. There's going to be a regression because you're not going to be able to go 9 innings like you did. He gave up 4 hits in that game against Cleveland and was phenomenal. 4 Ks, 4 hits, 1 walk, and a complete game. With that performance, you knew you weren't going to get that again from Tyler Phillips. But then from the very next outing for Tyler Phillips, the very next outing, at least give us a moment before you have that fall from grace and things fall off the deep end. From a complete game, the very next game he pitched on August 2nd against Seattle, we all remember, as the Phillies lost that one 10-2, he was only able to get 1 2/3 innings and gave up 5 hits on 8 runs, 3 home runs on those 5 hits, just had 1 K. You can't have that big of a swing. Not that fast. That's from one outing to the next. And then from there, Tyler Phillips, you didn't really trust him anymore. They gave him another chance. They gave him the ball again 2 more times in the month of August, and he struggled again against the Dodgers. I mean, that part I actually understood. It was a big moment, the Dodgers, but this is your role. Coming in as that 5th starter, as a team that was looking for a piece. And so for him to have a 1.80 ERA in July, and then a 13.91 ERA in the month of August, you cannot have a swing like that. And then, I mean, technically his ERA for September was an 81, which is just like, what?
It's not good.
That's not good. It literally, so it was not a good swing for Tyler Phillips to have that complete game and then turn right around and be awful. I give him a C-. And the only reason it is still in the C range is, to your point, I had 0 expectations for Tyler Phillips. Anybody that's stepping in as the 5th starter, you're just really there to fill a void. You're a temporary fix, a Band-Aid, whatever you want to call it. I didn't have high expectations for him, but I think what makes it worse is if he had been that struggling number 5 that can only give you 4 innings, it's more of a bullpen game consistently, that's one thing. But to have a complete game then turn into 1 2/3 innings, you can't have that big of a swing, unfortunately.
JP, I never thought I'd say complete games are a bad thing.
It's a bad thing.
But
it's a bad thing. We've seen this so many times. Michael Lorenzen, Tyler Phillips. How many times do we see these young pitchers that really aren't ready have a complete game, and then you literally break the next game? So I give him a C-, and I think that's fair. He's an average expectation wise.
So we got a C+ and a C-.
I think he's still, JP,
where you at?
Could have been harsher. That wasn't too bad.
That wasn't. That's fine.
By the way, guys, he turned 27 yesterday.
Happy birthday, Tyler.
He did.
Happy belated.
Sorry to give you a C-, 27-year-old.
A local kid.
Hey, he's a major league player. Not many people can say they are that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
At 27, he gets a 72.
Yeah, especially he grew up as a Phillies fan, as we all saw. And, listen, the perfect game, obviously, or the complete game, that was obviously, the one that we were, we had some expectations after that. But you got to remember where he was coming from, right? He's a farm system guy, comes up here, gives you a nice little spot to start. Obviously, after the Spencer Turnbull injury, you kind of needed a 5th starter there. I gave him a C because of just like you guys talked about, the expectations. We really didn't have much. He was saying the right things. He was doing the right things when he did get called up. But at the end of the day, he kind of is who he is. It's gonna be interesting to see what his role will be here this upcoming year. But it's kind of hard to kill the kid, as we all said. So I'm gonna give him a C.
Ooh, we're all consistent though.
All right, yeah. So C-, C, and a C+.
Degrees, apparently.
All right,
that's what
let's get to our next one because it's my sweet darling boy Ranger. Everybody here knows
you had to save him for last.
Yeah. Everybody knows my love for Ranger. There he is, 27 games played in 2024, 12-8 with a 3.46 ERA, a 2.6 WAR on the year, 150 innings. His career high was 155, 145 strikeouts, a 1.01 WHIP, and he did spend pretty much a month on the IL due to the back issue that he was having. For Ranger Suarez, I gave him a B. Probably could have. I probably would have been an A- had he not been injured. It's the injury thing. It happens every year. And when you're a player that shows up in the postseason like Ranger Suarez does every year, I can deal with it. But it does put strain and stress on that 6th starter type. It's a reason why you see a Tyler Phillips. So I do have to knock him a little bit for the injury because it requires some guys that probably shouldn't be there to be there. But on the year, he, came up just shy of his career high. He shows up in the postseason, so I love that. It does, put that stress on the staff. But his hits per 9 were down. His whip was down. His walks per 9 were down. Home runs allowed, strikeouts were all very consistent. Overall, I'm going B. I could probably be talked into a little bit of a B+, but that 1.2 whip is not great. So I'll settle in at the B there for my boy Ranger.
I expected that from you.
Yeah, you didn't think I was going to go higher?
No, I expected at least a B.
What's a B? An 85?
Yeah, it's like right around that range, like the middle.
I feel like that's fair. What do you got there, Ice Queen?
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, for Ranger Suarez with his 150 and 2/3 innings pitched, that is second highest in his career, which is something we talked about with him having the goal of pitching over 200 innings, which he obviously fell short of. This is uncharted territory for him. And you did see him kind of hit a wall. And not to mention, you saw the back spasms, the injuries that he dealt with. Of course, there was a comebacker, there was the back spasm or back issue. There were a couple of things he dealt with throughout the course of the season. And you could see he never really was 100% after that. Now, injuries are tough because it's not like you're purposely getting injured, but being available, being healthy is part of your job too. It is part of your role to be able to figure out a way to manage your body, stay, eating right, all the little things you can do, ice baths, whatever it takes to stay healthy. So
are you saying that my boy Ranger isn't doing that stuff? Huh?
If the shoe fits.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. I'm saying like it's a tough balance when the reason why you're struggling is because of injuries. But on the other side, the expectation is to be able to work through injuries and be able to stay healthy and be able to make yourself available. And when Ranger got hurt, it was drastically the game-changing swing for this team. I mean, the first half of the season, Ranger, as we know, was phenomenal. 1.75 ERA, 10-1 on the season, one of the best starts across baseball that we've probably seen in a while. Landed himself his first All-Star nod. For Ranger Suarez, he is, as we talk about, Tyler Phillips, 27. Ranger Suarez is 29. He turned 29 in August. Still under 30 crew. And we also know, of course, what he brings you as a postseason asset because of his phenomenal performances in his 9 postseason appearances in his career prior to this season, having a 1.62 ERA in that stretch. He was giving us NL Cy Young candidate. He was giving us All-Star. He was giving us all the things. And then he went on the IL in July 27th. Right around the time the Phillies also, that's right around the All-Star break.
When you show up in the playoffs like he does, like I can deal with that.
The Phillies were never the same.
That's not Ranger's
fault. We said it was Whit Merrifield, but maybe it was also Ranger. Let's be honest. Let's call it a bean.
No.
So for him, his first start back, August 24th, we knew he was going to be rocky, and it was very up and down. The velocity was not the same. We know that he was working on that. He had a 6.49 ERA over his last 6 starts coming out of the IL on August 24th. Struggled. Obviously, we know the whole simulated game was a time to see what he could do, and Rob Thompson felt comfortable with him. And so I struggled with this because, again, he did pitch the second highest amount of innings ever in his career, but you do also expect for Ranger Suarez, who's emerging as that true number 3, to be a little bit more consistent. This is not, if this was like a year or 2 ago, I think I might be a bit more okay with it, but I feel like at this stage of the game, I have higher expectations for Ranger Suarez. So I know it's hard. I'm saying all this to get to my goal of what the grade is. This is a tough one, and I don't want to be mean to Ranger. I give Ranger a C+.
I mean, it's not that far off of me.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad. He did work through.
I could possibly be talking to a B+ because of his first 2 months, but we're not that far off.
No,
C+
and I think for him to come back, and obviously we were very nervous when he was getting the nod in Game 4 of the NLDS, and it wasn't on him that they lost that game. He did his part. 4 1/3 innings pitch, gave 5 hits, no runs, was good. But that stretch for Ranger,
people are more with you. Mickey Durkin says C+.
Yeah.
Second half was disastrous. Frank said I'm going to give Ranger an A because he's blinded. I didn't, Frank. I gave him a B. All right.
Jamie,
Frank gives him a C also. Mickey says I'm Team Renee. But that's a fair grade. I gave him a B. You guys all probably expected me to give him A-.
I mean, his first.
Look, the thing that matters most is playoff baseball, and Ranger Suarez.
Well, that's what gave him a C+.
He's a 1.4 ERA and 40 strikeouts in 10 appearances in the postseason. You can miss 6 weeks for me if you show up like that in October. JP, we have a B and a C+. More people are with Renee than me. Woo. What do you got?
I'm leaning more towards you. It's so hard to judge Ranger Suarez because it was literally tale of two halves. The first half, dude, he was in early Cy Young conversations, right?
He was in Cy Young conversations.
Yes.
His odds plummeted
Was he in Cy Young conversations?
For the first 2 months of the season.
Oh, he's in Cy Young conversations.
For the first two months.
And then was a 6.
Yeah, and then he got hurt.
6.61 ERA, 6.04 ERA, 5 ERA were his ERAs in the final 3 months of the regular season. Sorry.
Listen, you're not wrong, Renee, but like the bigger picture, right? The early part of the season, the reason why they were so good, yes, they were hitting the ball, but the rotation was lethal. I mean, obviously, Wheeler, Nola, but Ranger was on. Christopher Sanchez was coming into his own, and then you had Spencer Turnbull was solidifying that 5th role before he got hurt. And I think that was a big reason why they did collapse into the playoffs there. But Ranger Suarez, you need him. I mean, you talked about the playoffs. That was a great performance that he did. And if you guys remember going into Game 4, we really did not know what to expect from Ranger Suarez.
We didn't.
We knew he came up big in playoffs before, but before the season ended, the regular season, we didn't see a really good Ranger Suarez. I'm curious to see how he bounces back now a year older. I mean, I know 29's not that old. I mean, I'm 30, so it's crazy for me to say. But yeah, it's gonna be big next year.
What's really gonna be fascinating because Christopher Sanchez's extension got worked out this year, and that's gonna be a bargain for the Phillies. That's a great extension. Frank Barber, I think, said he went from Cy Young favorite to the Phillies might not re-sign him. This is going to be a fascinating offseason to see what they do with Ranger. We've kind of talked about before, like, Ranger and Bohm would be your 2 spiciest trade pieces if you did want to, like, make some real big roster changes to this team. But it's an interesting discussion, and Linda in the chat gives them a B. It looks like most people are in that C+B at the most range.
Again, he had under a 1 ERA for the month of April. That's how you start off the season. 0.75 ERA in the month of April across 5 games. And then to have, May was a little bit more human of a 2.32. Each month actually got worse, it felt like. And then
when
that
you start
second
out
half.
perfect, that's expected.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I didn't, much like Tyler Phillips with the complete game, I didn't expect Ranger Suarez to continue pitching that well. We all knew that's borderline perfection, and he was going to come back to earth at some point. But much like I said about Phillips, it can't be that big of a swing that you go from, having shutouts and complete games, another curse maybe there, to then being someone that's unable to pitch more than 4 innings, 5 innings consistently. I mean, that September game against the Washington Nationals where he gave up 6 runs in 2 innings on 7 hits, it just completely swung for him. So he is becoming more of a veteran. He's closing in on 30. He's getting older. He's also been in big moments. And I think it's now time for him to find a way to, maybe this offseason, hopefully they keep him. Talk to Aaron Nola. Talk to Zack Wheeler. Figure out a way to be able to put together a full season of maybe somewhere in the middle. I'd love that. I love that Cy Young start. But can we just have a solid, consistent season from Ranger?
Yeah, I mean, I'm at the point where I don't know if Ranger can really give you more than 160 innings. So that'll probably go into the Phillies, factor in signing him. Maybe they offer him perhaps a below market kind of valuation there and do that and see if he takes it. We'll see what happens, but that's going to be an interesting one as well.
Interesting.
All right, let's take a minute here and tell you some more about our friends. And that's our friends over at TrueMark Financial Credit Union. And if you are thinking about a new credit card, well, it's back to school season. Bills are piling up. Vacation, Christmas is coming. So there's so much to buy. New clothes, backpacks, classroom supplies. It's like every day I'm getting a daughter's field trip, pretzel day, get school merch. It just doesn't stop. And then there's stuff at the house, stuff with the yard, stuff with the car. You just always need something. And TrueMark Financial's Rewards Visa credit card can make it more rewarding this time of the year when the bills just won't leave you alone. Now, not only can you earn 1 point for every dollar spent, if you open a new Rewards Visa credit card by a certain date, you can get a gift card. Yep, you can apply online at truemark.com/PHLY rewards. Terms and conditions apply. Visit truemark.com/PHLY rewards for details. Federally insured by the NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender.
All right, well, as we're talking about the holiday season, one thing you don't want to deal with this holiday season are leaky pipes, plumbing issues. You're hosting, the last thing you want to deal with is your oven not working or maybe your toilet's not flushing properly. Well, with Ace Hardware Home Services, as we're in this red October, this postseason period, that also means it's time for you to make sure you've got everything ready around the house. And if you're looking to have any projects, anything fixed, anything that needs tweaking, electrical issues, make sure that when people come over, no one is blowing a fuse or dealing with any electrical issues when they plug stuff in. Or with Ace Hardware Home Services, they give you the trusted hardware folks. They've got local plumbers and techs that handle everything from repairs and seasonal maintenance to also the installations and upgrades. So if you do have any projects, they're going to make sure to help you out by giving you a free estimate that you can get with Ace Hardware Home Services on any equipment that you're looking to get. And then also making sure you're getting the support, the advice, so you don't feel overwhelmed. It's difficult trying to figure out exactly what you need, which pricing makes sense, working through your budget and your home and the vision of what that project is. So whether you are dealing with a heating issue, plumbing, electrical, cooling, anything else around your home, at Ace Hardware Home Services, they have a trusted team, people that have been working with the knowledge, with the skills, with the expertise for decades. And they're going to be able to help you out from the first moment you walk through the doors to the first moment you give them a call, or even that first moment you go online and check them out. From that moment on, they're there for you every step of the way to help provide support. So today, if you are getting started on a project and you want to make sure you can have that free estimate, or maybe you have an emergency service that needs support, Ace Hardware Home Services is always available for that as well. They're local, and their team is making sure to keep you comfortable in your home for you and your neighbors to enjoy the holiday season. So visit Ace Hardware Home Services at www.acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project so you can enjoy the holiday season the right way, not dealing with leaky pipes, plumbing issues, anything else going on in your home. Again, acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started today.
And this is the PHLY Phillies podcast, brought to you by those people at Ace Hardware Home Services. As Renee just told you, visit them online at acehardwarehomeservices.com. All right, Renee, it's World Series time.
Yeah.
World Series time.
Yeah.
The Los Angeles Dodgers appear to be telling us that, yes, World Series can be bought.
Oh, man.
I mean, these are the two most expensive clubs and franchises around baseball. So they both bought their groups. Just one paid a little bit more.
Well, at least Aaron Judge was homegrown. You know, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Shohei Otani, straight cash. And the Boston Red Sox throw him in Guantanamo Bay for trading Mookie Betts away for like dog bleep. Alex Verdugo.
Is that the worst trade in sports?
There's probably worse. Trading a perennial MVP candidate for Alex Verdugo seems criminal. There was obviously a couple other pieces, but he was the crown jewel, I believe, at the time. Yeah, it's depressing because the Dodgers are proving that you can buy a title again.
Yeah,
and it kind of had like not since the Yankees of like the turn of the century. I think that's kind of been dead. That you can't really buy titles per se. Like you need to supplement it with homegrown talent. And of course there are some pieces, but when you look at Tommy Edman, you know, a trade deadline piece, and we have Sarah Lang's 10 facts from the World Series that we're going to go through, and he's one of them. And then it's Shohei Otani and Freddie Freeman. It's just like, great. And it would suck if it was the Yankees too, but it's a cool thing. Yankees, Dodgers. I'm enjoying it, I guess, mostly.
Listen, this series is quote unquote far from over, but going up 2-0 makes things a little bit difficult to say the least. When you have Freddie Freeman, who was injured and then comes out there and hits a walk-off grand slam, and that's how we start game one. That's how we finish game one, excuse me. That's how the series kicked off. My first thought is, please go 7. Let's go the whole distance. We need all the baseball. Give us all the excitement. But as you talk about being able to buy a title team, I know we talked about it in this offseason. Do we believe in super teams? And I'm one that always says super teams don't work because it's not enough just to have the best guys. You do need, as you mentioned, the other pieces, the depth pieces, the around the edges pieces. Well, hats off to the Dodgers because throughout the course of the season, they built that and then they brought that in with a player like Tommy Edman, a team that actually got the trade deadline right. To bring in an NLCS MVP, Tommy Edman. That's who's been helping them. And it's been other guys, Max Muncy and Edman and different guys that have been helping them. We talked about Kike. It's not just as much as Shohei Otani is stealing the show in these really running away with it there. And Mookie Betts and even Freddie Freeman and Yamamoto has a phenomenal game too that he shows you this is why everybody was putting out so much money and trying to acquire Yamamoto, and it was a bidding war because he was fantastic in his game two showing. And you need that. When you have someone like that can come in and give you that type of a showing, for him to have almost go 7 innings, he hadn't pitched into the 7th inning since June 7th and almost was able to do it in the postseason. And through 86 pitches was insane. Teoscar Hernandez, they have so far built the pieces. And what makes it, there's 2 things that make this the most frustrating for me. 1, well, actually 3. 1, I would like the series to go 7. So let's stop. Don't win again.
Yeah.
Let the Yankees crawl back. Let's extend the series. We need more baseball. 2, Aaron Judge going 1 for 9 with 6 strikeouts in the World Series so far and has been 6 for 40 with 19 strikeouts in the postseason. Issue number 2. And issue number 3, and this is probably the one that pains me the most, Jamie, the Dodgers are doing all of this without Shohei Otani pitching, without all of their, big dogs, their injuries. They've got their pitching staff is banged up. They're piecing together bullpen games and a pitching staff. So I just am not ready for the conversation that we're going to hear for the next year if the Dodgers win this World Series like this.
Well,
and everyone's going to say, well, they're going to run it back because they did all this and they weren't even at 100%. And we're going to have to deal with that narrative all 2025.
Well, the rumor already came out that they're in the market for Juan Soto as well. So get ready for that one. But they do now have an 84% chance historically of winning the World Series after that. JP, if you can cue up the Shohei Otani video, because if you were watching Saturday night, you saw him slide in second base and have an awkward elbow thing. And I originally thought oh, he's done. And then it turns out that Shohei Otani has freak elbows.
This is why he's so good. Can your elbows do this? Can you do this? Ow. Oh my gosh, it hurts so bad.
How can you do that? So apparently this is a thing with him. I didn't know about his freak elbows, but look at that. That's courtesy of Codify.
Everybody please try to do this because it's actually really more difficult than it looks. My arm is actually in pain.
It's more of a shoulder thing than
do you roll it forward and oh, no.
Yeah, how do you
even, where does this come from? First of all, how do you learn you can do this? I always wonder with things like this, where does this start?
I had a double jointed phase as a youth.
What makes you realize?
I was I got to be double jointed somewhere, so I would try to figure out.
Okay, I guess that's it.
But maybe Shohei and me are the same in that we tried to figure out where we're double jointed. We're pretty much the same person.
Is that just genetics? How do you?
I don't know. But now after seeing this, I'm oh, okay. Then his elbow didn't look as bad.
But she's doing it too. Why is this a thing?
Yeah, but not as.
Do I need to stretch more?
Not even close. She's chicken wings.
Yeah, but it's way closer to what I'm doing.
Well, I guess we got to work on this.
Is this a flexibility thing?
This is our off-season homework assignment.
Yeah, I'm going to learn.
See if we can get Shohei elbows. But that does kind of explain the injury a little bit there that he, because when I saw it, I was oh, he's done. And then,
but his elbows can bend, and that's why flexibility is important.
And
flexibility
then Dave Roberts comes
minimize.
after the game and is no, Shohei's in a good place. He's good to go. So it's been, look, a pretty fun series.
Is this why he's so good? Because he's got
freak
his
elbows.
arms can do random things.
All right, Sarah Langs on MLB.com put out the 10 facts and figures from World Series Game 2 to tell you what a weird and wild game that was. All right, here they are. I'm going to read them off. Tommy Edman got the scoring started with a homer in the second. Oh, he's a trade deadline piece. Weird. I didn't know you were allowed to get contributions from that.
Tommy was available.
He played center field on Saturday, becoming the second player in postseason history to homer as both a shortstop, as he did in the NLCS, and a center fielder, joining teammate Chris Taylor, who accomplished the feat in 2017.
Did you say center fielder? Center fielders can hit home runs?
Yeah, they're allowed. Edman is the 7th Dodger with a World Series homer as a center fielder, joining Duke Snider, Pete Reiser, Taylor, Jim Wynn, Cody Bellinger, and Hy Myers. So, trade deadline piece.
That's just number 1?
Pretty big.
Lovely.
All right, that was number 1. Number 2, in the 3rd inning, Teoscar Hernandez, who, if you remember from last offseason, I said the Phillies should sign.
Oh, yeah.
I said, what's another $20 million, John Middleton? Throw it at Teoscar Hernandez. He can give you some bad defense in left field, but he'll hit bombs. Well,
where does he play?
Los Angeles.
I'm sorry. What position?
Left.
Oh, he's a left fielder that can hit the ball.
Their title. In the 3rd inning, Teoscar Hernandez and Freddie Freeman hit the second set of back-to-back home runs in Dodgers World Series history. They joined Pedro Guerrero and Steve Yeager from Game 5 in 1981. Freddie Freeman, next fact. Freddie Freeman became the 11th player to homer in games 1 and 2 of the same World Series, and the first since Big Papi did it in 2013. The others are Craig Monroe, Reggie Sanders, Barry Bonds, Ted Simmons, Boog Powell, Hank Bauer, Dusty Rhodes, Mickey Cochran, and Jimmy Fox.
But Freddie Freeman was injured.
Freddie Freeman.
What do you mean you can be injured and then come back and be smashing home runs and grand slams?
That grand slam, man, he molly whipped that.
So
one.
Injury doesn't have to hurt you to the point of making you regress statistically. Okay, just making sure. All these things are like
not done with Freddie Freeman yet.
Oh.
It isn't just the back-to-back games for Freddie Freeman. He's homered in 4 consecutive World Series games dating back to 2021 with the Braves. That's tied for the second longest streak in the Fall Classic with Reggie Jackson and Lou Gehrig. He only trails George Springer, who did so in 5 games. Is that enough Freddie Freeman trivia for you?
Yes,
well, wait, Renee. There's one more, courtesy of Sarah
No.
Langs. Freddie Freeman joined Jackson. That's Reggie Jackson from Cheltenham, Pennsylvania. He's one of ours, folks, and he's
Cheltenham?
He's a Cheltenham grad.
You say Cheltenham, not Shelton?
You say Shelton?
Yeah, you say Chelton?
I'm a Cheltenham.
I'm a Cheltenham.
Cheltenham.
What do you say, JP?
Cheltenham.
Well, I have no idea. What is this in PA?
Yeah, it's right by my
Yeah,
house.
It's
I'm
Cheltenham.
a Jersey boy. I don't.
Fran Duffy graduated from there. We'll ask him.
Cheltenham?
That doesn't make it right.
Oh, that's Jules. Jules will know.
I'm
a
Googling
Cheltenham.
it. I'm Googling it right now. Continue with your
Get out of
list.
here. We're not Cheltenham. But yes, Reggie Jackson graduated from Cheltenham.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He grew up not far from where I live. His father had I believe he was a tailor right on the road there. That's by Arcadia. Anyway, they were trying to make it a historical landmark at one point because I think it's not owned anymore, and they were trying to, whatever. We're going off rail. So Freddie Freeman joins Jackson for the A's and Yankees, the only players to homer in consecutive World Series games for multiple teams. The only other players with multiple World Series homers for multiple teams are Corey Seager, who did it just last year, Dave Henderson, who did it for the Red Sox and A's, and Lenny Dykstra for the Mets and Phillies, and Reggie Smith, Boston and LA. So Freddie Freeman really kind of cementing himself in World Series.
Oh, Google just cemented it is apparently.
Cheltenham.
My whole life's been a lie.
What were you saying?
Cheltenham.
Cheltenham?
Cheltenham. Cheltenham.
Cheltenham.
It's like Lancaster.
Lancaster.
It's Cheltenham and Lancaster. Go ahead.
Well, Cheltenham's the home of Mr. October. All right, rounding out these fun facts from Game 2 of the World Series.
Well.
The 3 homers were tied for the most by a team in the first 3 innings of a World Series game. The Phillies, remember them when they were in World Series?
Who?
They did it in Game 3 in 2022. The Giants in Game 2 and the Yankees in Game 2 in 1977. It's the second time it's happened in a Dodgers-Yankees Game 2 when Ron Say, Yeager, and Smith off of Catfish Hunter in 1977. Yamamoto was exactly
the one that we also want the Phillies to acquire, but
yeah, we did. They tried.
They at least tried him. Allegedly.
They got over $200 million, and they said they made an offer that would surprise some people. Yamamoto, he was excellent. He delivered the 11th start of at least 6 innings and 1 or no hits allowed in World Series history. It was the first of those by a rookie and the second by a Dodger, joining Rich Hill in 2018. Juan Soto, you heard of that guy, Renee? You want to hear about what he's done? Well, Juan Soto had 2 hits, including the 3rd inning homer that temporarily tied the game. It was the first home run this series after he hit 3 in the 2019 World Series for the Nats. Soto, who turned 26 on Friday, is the youngest player to homer in the World Series for a second team.
Are we done? This is
one more.
Okay.
With Juan Soto and Kiki Hernandez, it was the 3rd time that 2 Dominican-born players homered in the same World Series game. The other 2 instances were 2011 when the Rangers and Cardinals faced off, and Nelson Cruz and Albert Pujols went yard in Game 3. And then Cruz and Adrian Beltre did it in Game 6.
Okay, well, we like that nugget.
That was a cool one.
That's the only one you had to read. What I noticed from all these, the common denominator is that these are all players. Not only big players, but these are also players that we talked about for the Phillies. Obviously, they allegedly went after Yoshinobu Yamamoto and allegedly are going after Juan Soto. And in that bidding war, but Teoscar Hernandez. We actually didn't talk about Tommy Edman, but he was out there. He was also...
we've talked about him. in terms of trade deadline contributions.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
NLCS MVP, World Series.
He was a target. He's a center fielder. He's a shortstop. He gives you great offense. Clearly, these are all pieces that the Phillies realistically could have gone after, but instead they're in a Dodgers uniform and they're in the World Series. So yeah.
I can't, like, hearing you guys talk about this World Series, I can't help but think about the trade deadline and like the past.
Oh, dude, I was steaming about it on Friday night.
The past 2 deadlines, dude. We talked about it on Friday.
Rodolfo, Castro,
a lot left to be desired. And like, dude, I'm looking at both this year and last year's World Series. All 4 teams made some type of move that helped out in the end there.
How about that? Weird.
It's frustrating, man. What does Dombrowski do? Like, I mean, like, do you change the mentality at the deadline? Like, how do we not have the 24 and 23 deadlines? Because if you look in 22, Brandon Marsh, obviously contributor that year, probably his best year in the Phillies uniform. I mean, even like Noah Syndergaard in the regular season gave you some innings, but like these past 2, they literally have not helped out whatsoever.
Would you like something to feel better?
It's like, what are you looking at?
What you
I don't know
now,
what they're seeing.
I'm going to present this without my bias, and I'm just going to read you the headline from Bob Nightingale. The Philadelphia Phillies are expected to strongly pursue Juan Soto to team up with Boris client Bryce Harper.
Yeah. Yeah.
There it is from Philly. Our friends over at Phillies Tailgate had the quote from Nightingale. Cool. I'm going to leave it at that because I'm not going to say what I think.
Well, also, according to Jim Bowden, he also mentioned that the prediction is that Soto's deal the number has gone up. Yesterday's price is not today's price, guys. We said 14 years, $536 million.
Now.
It's gotten up to 15 years, $622 million deal for him. Like, the number's actually going up for what Juan Soto's looking for. And he wants that long-term deal. And so
tomorrow we're going to get into this because I just saw it before the show today. It's a tweet from, let me give him his credit, John Becker, who works for Fangraphs. And he cooked up a way that the Phillies or other teams could offer Juan Soto a $1 billion contract, which is spread out in deferred payments over a lifetime. That would make it an AAV that's, within reason at $45 million a year. But we'll go through that tomorrow and talk about it. Nightingale's throwing it out there at the World Series when Juan Soto's playing well. Of course, the Phillies are going to get tied to almost anything that will inflate the market, but it's certainly nice to read that.
Yeah, I mean, when you hear that the number is between 550 and 650, it's the Phillies, the Blue Jays, the Nationals, Rangers, Dodgers that are all Mets, of course, Giants, everybody with money. But the only difference is we had someone like Dave Dombrowski was saying, we're not going after the superstar. And then you have on the other side for the Mets, Stearns was saying, and for the Mets, they're saying like they didn't say no. They're saying they're going to be aggressive this offseason. They're going to take advantage of opportunities and be aggressive. I would like to hear that the Phillies are being aggressive. Just say the words. Just say it. Don't tiptoe around it. Say you're going to be aggressive this offseason because everybody else is.
The reason they wouldn't is because then if they don't get them, the fans are just going, boo, you Bobby.
I mean, we're going to do that regardless.
So you just kind of stay out of the comments.
We're going to do that regardless.
These contracts are insane. Just to kind of put into perspective, so the 4th most popular sport in America, NHL, the highest paid player, Leon Draisaitl, plays for the Edmonton Oilers, makes $14 million a year.
God.
He just signed an 8-year deal worth $112 million. Like, that's insane.
Quite a difference.
Baseball is on the rise in popularity. I guess I'll give them that. They're averaging right now, and I actually think it probably should have been better. It's the highest average World Series rated since 2017 at 14.55 million.
Oof.
If you had, and look, that's good. I'm not denying that, but I would have thought like biggest and longer than that. With the Yankees and Dodgers and LA, New York.
Baseball naturally had a dip.
Yeah,
like, there are a lot of people that say, and I actually agree with this.
It's crawling back, so it's a good thing.
It slowed down from like 2010, I would even say, around that time that like people weren't actively as tapped in as much.
I honestly feel like it was Phillies Yankees World Series, like maybe personally for me, but like I feel like the 2010s were kind of.
Yeah, like for whatever, and that's
it was a dark period of baseball.
They started to then talk. We're going to shorten the games. We're going to do all these Then you saw the adjustments came, and that was just a few years ago that they really implemented.
But I would have guessed this was bigger since 2017.
I know.
What was the 2017 World Series?
But
I'm
it
so
was-
bad chronologically.
I'm curious how
with it.
far off the Phillies World Series was too.
I know.
Oh,
So
that was
obviously-
Astros Dodgers in 2017. So maybe
Well,
the
that's the
LA
other thing.
That's a
I
good
wonder
one.
how much, like, first things slowed down around the 2010s, and you had the sequence of consistent Houston Astros in the World Series, cheating, not as big of a fan base. Like, I think people started to get annoyed with baseball. But
Yeah.
and they're back. Clearly, the numbers are showing that.
Yeah, so tomorrow we'll talk about not Shohei Ohtani, but Game 3 results of the World Series. But we'll talk about Juan Soto and a $1 billion offer and what it could look like.
Jeez.
Plus, we got some fact or
$1
fiction to get into, some more grades to get into. So we got a lot stored for you this week here on the PHLY Phillies podcast. For JP Zapata, Renee Washington, and myself, Jamie Lynch, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Have a great Monday, everyone, and we'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place, 11 a.m. right here on PHLY. See ya.